Kamala Harris has been accused of 5 big lies. So here are her 5 biggest lies, according to Fox News.
Now it's time to do what the fake debate moderators refuse to do, and that's call out Kamala Harris's on her falsehoods. Of course, they fact-checked Trump 5 times compared to 0 for Kamala. So here are her 5 biggest lies.
A lot of people complained about the uneven approach of the moderators during the presidential debate, and it was quite concerning. I watched it. It didn't feel balanced. It didn't feel fair. Kamala Harris was Kamala Harris was not fact-checked. Donald Trump was fact-checked, many times. And she did say things that had been debunked a long time ago, but she kept saying them, and they did not fact check her, which was quite an indictment on their competence as moderators.
Biggest lies. First, Kamala's favorite smear. Watch.
What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again.
Fact, Trump had nothing to do with Project 2025, and what you heard last night was Trump's plan to make America safer and more prosperous, his ideas. Second, Kamala's phony defense of what are your constitutional rights.
This business about taking everyone's guns away, Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away, so stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
Well,
U.S. citizen, you can vote from here, and even here.
Well, who's lying? Kamala in 2019 pledged to enact a mandatory gun buyback program, and just last month called for a ban on assault weapons. Third.
It's interesting that people don't do their own personal research. And I think that if a candidate says something and you're able to find old content that they've put out that is in support of what they've said, that backs up their claims, then it shows that they are consistent on their positions and on their policies. But if they claim that they're going to do something, but just a few months back they said something to the contrary, they should be called out on it and asked to defend their change in position. I have said it several times. Politicians say things that they believe will give them an advantage in the polls. And I really don't like that position. I prefer that people, say what they mean and do what they say that they're going to do. And if politicians do the opposite of what they promise during their campaigning, is really a bad sign. And they've been doing it for decades. Politicians promise all kinds of things if they are voted into office, and then they break those promises. Some of those are premeditated because they are like, they know that they're not going to carry out any of those policies that they promised. And so they go ahead and, pander to the crowd. And then when they get into office, they act like they never made those promises.
Kamala knowingly took Trump completely out of context.
Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
Now, I heard the context of that statement on the bloodbath situation, and it surprises me that whoever it was that prepped Kamala Harris for the speech, I'm going to be blaming the people who prepped the two candidates, because when you say things that can be fact-checked, not just by the moderators, but you can go online and find the speech that is being referenced, and you find that they didn't say that those things that they're being accused of saying. Trump was talking about the EV market and how new factories had been built in Mexico, and how once those factories started production, that it was going to be an economic bloodbath for companies in the US that sold cars or that sell cars. So he was referring to, and when you talk about that, it's really about that companies are going to lose money, and foreign concerns are going to be winning over the local companies or businesses in the US. That's what he meant. And so the next day, news anchors went to town saying that Trump was calling for violence by using the word bloodbath. And that is so dishonest. And that's part of what really puts me off of politics. I'm like, is it necessary to just lie? I mean, you just lie. And I think that many times politicians depend on the ignorance of the population. They depend on the ignorance of the people who are going to vote. And so that's why I am promoting books now. I'm like, this is the book of the week. Go and read so that you can educate yourself. Get books that will teach you things about the economy, things about how government is run, things about human nature, things about how societies are built, things about how to raise children. Educate yourself so that you can be a high quality population, so that the people who want to lead the population that is highly educated have to be high quality themselves. And so they can't come on air and publicly say things that are untrue. And I'm saying it for any candidate, both on the left side of the aisle or on the right side of the aisle, conservative or liberal. Either candidate has to come out and speak the truth and not say things that that they know would be provocative to their base, and smearing the other candidate. And they would know that the population is more educated. The population knows how to fact check for themselves and to call out these things. When a candidate repeatedly does this, for me, it raises a red flag, like, this person is not the right person for me. Excuse me. Yeah, so we're going to continue.
Fact, Trump was referring to the auto industry that will, in fact, face a bloodbath if Kamala enacts her radical climate agenda. Fourth, Kamala steals Biden's favorite talking point.
Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
Wait, do we really need to go over this again? First of all, when she says tiki torches, the whole thing kind of collapses for me. This may be the most debunked lie in all of politics, but she stuck with it. In fact, Trump specifically condemned these groups that she's talking about. I covered it at the time, in real time, here on Fox. It's all on tape. It's been there for, 7 years now. And finally, perhaps Kamala's biggest lie.
This is a 7-year-old talking point that has been debunked, and they are still saying it. I mean, that's really strange.
The President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
Forget the 9/11 thing. The anniversary is today. This adds a layer of a disgusting cruelty to this lie. And she's supposed to be the compassionate one. Of course, it's just another political statement, and a false one at that. Joining me now, Ben Domenech, editor-at-large of The Spectator, and Ari Fleischer, the former White House press secretary, both Fox News contributor. Ben, let's start.
All right, so this is, like I said, this is a conservative news outlet, Fox News. They're going to have their own edge to this story. We're going to listen to what the commentators have to say for a few minutes, and then we'll wrap up this segment, because we've heard the 5 lies. We'll just hear a bit from the commentators. There's no need to, belabor the points that they're trying to make. We'll listen to them, and then I'll basically give you my reaction to what has been said.
And let's start with you. I know there's another lie you wanted to call out.
Yes, so I wanted to call out a lie that isn't just from Kamala, but it's from Lindsay Davis, one of the moderators who was working alongside
A running
Kamala.
mate. She was really the running mate.
You know,
Yeah.
her support animal who was there. You know, it's one of these things that I think is just so disgusting. When it comes to the abortion issue, I want people to understand, and I say this as a pro-lifer, there have been some pro-lifers who've been disappointed in things that Donald Trump has said during this cycle, but I think that what you saw last night was a reminder of how radical this ticket is from the Democrats. Truly the most radical pro-abortion ticket we've ever seen in the history of politics. And the fact that Lindsay Davis would come to Kamala's support to make the claim that no one is having these late-term abortions, it's not actually happening.
In Minnesota.
You know, and Donald Trump, to his credit, was saying, you know, wait, the 7th, 8th, 9th month. In fact, in Minnesota, the state that obviously Tim Walz governs, when he became governor, he reversed a policy that was actually passed and signed into law under a Democrat governor, the Born Alive Infant Protection Act, that was designed to make hospitals care for infants who survived the abortion process, to give them every consideration in terms of trying to help them survive. He reversed that completely. And then after...
All right, so if you just heard this, please let me know in the comment section if this is true, because it was a big row about the claim that Trump made that babies were being born and set aside and then possibly executed. That was being said. One of the moderators countered him and said that no one is killing babies after they're born, but he's saying that actually it was a situation that was happening. So let me...
After he did that, he also reversed the reporting requirements that because, frankly, he was being embarrassed by the fact that there were 5 infants who actually went through this process, were born alive. It is absolutely disgusting. It is vile, and it is a reminder of how radical this Democratic ticket is, and that the media, including ABC News, will run to their defense and sell lies to the American people.
Because why, Ben? They do not want the American people to know this is happening.
They don't want you to know this is happening. They want to pretend it isn't.
All right. Kamala couldn't keep her story straight on fracking last night. Watch this.
That is...
My values have not...
Okay, so remember, when you're voting, vote for a candidate whose policies line up closely or close enough to the teachings of Scripture. When you weigh 2 candidates, you pick the one who lines up close enough to the things that God says we should support, and reject the things that God says we should reject. If one candidate is closer to these principles, then that should be your candidate, whether they are Democrat or Republican. It is sad that this has been happening in some states in the U.S.
have not changed. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. We have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil.
Kamala flips on fracking after trashing it in 2019.
Anyone trust her on this?
No, and this is where President Trump was strong. He said she will ban fracking, and that's exactly what he needs to do. You need to define her in these debates. You need to hold her positions from 2019 around her and make her wear them. Make her wear them in 2024. Her flip-flops, her taking them back are meaningless. This is who she is. This is what she will do. And, you know, it's not just that position. It's when she says her values are the same. Remember, she said the ICE, our Border Patrol, are like the KKK. When migrants crossed the Rio Grande, she said, cut Border Patrol, whip them. It reminded her of slavery. She is wrong on everything because her heart is culturally liberal San Francisco. And that's who Donald Trump is running against. And his job is to remind everybody of those stands that she took, because that's who she is. She was protected by 2 bodyguards last night from ABC News. That's why they were there. They were there. They were her agents. They had little things in their ear, too. And so but that's no longer really.
Okay, now he brings up the statement about the earrings, and we're going to be talking about it when we go into the comment section.
I criticized ABC tremendously last night, and I always will. But still, Donald Trump has to beat her on these issues and then go after the press. I do think he could have done more to shine a light on how bad her positions are.
Okay, so we have we have that report from Fox News about the 5 big lies that Kamala Harris, told during the debate. What do you think? We as Christians have to embrace a balanced weight. All right, a balanced weight. And I want us to learn how to do that. Set aside our emotions. I'm learning how to do that. I want to look at the evidence and make a decision and discuss openly. There was a time when people could discuss politics without it becoming personal. Like if I said I am in support of this candidate, it did not reflect on the quality of human that I was. But in recent times, it's changed. And there's something wrong with that picture. It means that things have seriously gone wrong. And we need to be able to have decent conversations again about things like politics and policies and what we stand for and what we don't agree with. And have those conversations without them having to devolve into really, really dark and violent exchanges. We've seen the candidates basically go after each other. It is something that has always been a political habit, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. But for those of us who have to vote, we have to avoid being emotional about these things and really look at the facts. Vote for policies that are close enough to scripture that allows us to build societies and communities that thrive and that are healthy and that are economically strong, that allows us to raise kids that are healthy and mentally strong and resilient. These are the kinds of things that we should look out for. And if policies that have been proven to to have destroyed other countries are being introduced by a candidate, we should be able to spot it a mile away. And that is why I advocate for reading books, that educates you about the way the world works. If the population is well educated and a candidate steps up and says, I would like to introduce this policy because it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you are well read on those practices and how they have fared in other countries, then it is easier for the population to make great picks for who they want to run their country.